Okay, everyone. You know, the coronavirus, they're just getting off the chain with this coronavirus. And now it's time for a little conspiracy theory. I don't know if all of you are aware, but there are some books circulating around us going viral now showing where the coronavirus allegedly was predicted years ago in different books, one of which was written by Dean Koontz and another written by Sylvia Brown. And just putting this out, you can see right here in Sylvia Brown's book, End of Days Predictions and Prophecies about the End of the World. You'll see right here it says, in and around 2020, a severe pneumonia like illness will spread throughout the globe, attacking the lungs and the bronchial tubes and resisting all known treatments. Almost more baffling than the illness itself will be the fact that it will suddenly vanish as quickly as it arrived, attack again 10 years later, and then disappear completely. And that's real interesting. Now, we can also see in Dean Koontz's book, and here we are on page 136, and a lot of people are talking about this, but I don't think people are really reading this from Dean Koontz. And I think you need to start up at the top of the paragraph to really get the full impact of what was being spoken about. And it says, Tina prepared Danny for the journey out of his prison. One by one, she removed the 18 electrodes that were fixed to his head and body. When she gingerly pulled off the adhesive tape, he whimpered, and she winced when she saw the rawness of his skin under the bandage. No effort had been made to keep him from chafing. While Tina worked on Danny, Elliot questioned Carl Dombey. What goes on in this place? Military research? Yes, Dombey said. Strictly biological weapons, biological and chemical, recombinant DNA experiments. At any one time, we have 30 to 40 projects underway. I thought the U.S. got out of the chemical and biological weapons race a long time ago. For the public record, we did, Dombey said. It made the politicians look good. But in reality, the work goes on. It has to. This is the only facility of its kind we have. The Chinese have 3 like it. The Russians. They're supposed to be our new friends, but they keep developing bacteriological weapons, new and more virulent strands of viruses because they're broke. And this is a lot cheaper than other weapon systems. Iraq has a big biochem warfare project, and Libya, and God knows who else. Lots of people out there in the rest of the world, they believe in chemical and biological warfare. They don't see anything immoral about it. If they felt they had some terrific new bug that we didn't know about, something against which we couldn't retaliate in kind, they'd use it on us. Elliot said, but if racing to keep up with the Chinese or the Russians or the Iraqis can create situations like the one we got here, where an innocent child gets ground up in the machine, then aren't we just becoming monsters too? Aren't we letting our fears of the enemy turn us into them? And isn't that just another way of losing the war? Dombey nodded. As he spoke, he smoothed the spikes of his mustache. That's the same question I've been wrestling with ever since Danny got caught in the gears. The problem is that some flaky people are attracted to this kind of work because of the secrecy and because you really do get a sense of power from designing weapons that can kill millions of people. Some megalomaniacs like Tamaguchi get involved. Men like Aaron Zachariah here. They abuse their power, pervert their duties. There's no way to screen them out ahead of time. But if we close up shop, if we stop doing this sort of research just because we were afraid of men like Tamaguchi winding up in charge of it, we'd be conceding so much ground to our enemies that we wouldn't survive for long. I suppose we have to learn to live with the lesser of the evils. Tina removed the electrode from Danny's neck, carefully peeling the tape off his skin. The child still clung to her, but his deeply sunken eyes were riveted on Dombey. I'm not interested in the philosophy or the morality of biological warfare, Tina said. Right now, I just want to know how the hell Danny wound up in this place. To understand that, Dombey said, you have to go back 20 months. It was around then that a Chinese scientist named Li Chen defected to the United States, carrying a diskette record of China's most important and dangerous new biological weapon in a decade. They call the stuff Wuhan 400 because it was developed at their rDNA labs outside of the city of Wuhan, and it was the 400th viable strand of man-made microorganisms created at that research center. Wuhan 400 is a perfect weapon. It afflicts only human beings. No other living creatures can carry it. And like syphilis, Wuhan 400 can't survive outside a living body for longer than a minute, which means it can't permanently contaminate objects or entire places the way anthrax and other virulent microorganisms can. And when the host expires, the Wuhan 400 within him perishes a short while later, as soon as the temperature of the corpse drops below 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Do you see the advantage of all this? Tina was too busy with Danny to think about what Carl Dunby had said, but Elliot knew what the scientists meant. If I understand you, the Chinese could use Wuhan 400 to wipe out a city or a country, and then there wouldn't be any need for them to conduct a tricky and expensive decontamination before they move in and took over the conquered territory. Exactly, Dombey said, and Wuhan 400 has other equally important advantages over most biological agents. For one thing, you can become an infectious carrier only 4 hours after coming into contact with the virus. That's an incredible short incubation period. Once infected, no one lives more than 24 hours. Most die in 12. It's worse than the Ebola virus in Africa, infinitely worse. Wuhan 400's kill rate is 100%. No one is supposed to survive. The Chinese tested it on God knows how many political prisoners. They were never able to find an antibody or an antibiotic that was effective against it. The virus migrates to the brainstem, and there it begins secreting a toxin that literally eats away brain tissue like battery acid, dissolving cheesecloth. It destroys the part of the brain that controls all of the body's automatic functions. The victim simply ceases to have a pulse, functioning organs, or any urge to breathe. So as you can see, this is very, very similar. You see it's coming out of China. And, you know, it seems like it may be some inside information. You decide. Comment it down at the bottom. I'll put a link to this. You can read it yourself. And it's in these books, y'all. Peace to the gods.
I'd like to call to order this secret conclave of America's media empires. We are here to come up with the next phony baloney crisis to put Americans back where they belong, in dark rooms glued to their televisions, too terrified to skip the commercials.
Well, I think...
NBC, you are here to listen and not speak. I think we should go with a good old-fashioned public health scare.
Yeah. A new disease. No one's immune. It's like the summer of the shark, except instead of a shark, it's an epidemic. And instead of summer, it's all the time.
That is so. Now, I hate to be the guy who derails what everybody else loves.
He loves being that guy.
But, Janice, we do have standards. This can't be a made-up disease. The only moral thing to do is release a deadly virus into the general public.
We do have something we've been holding on to, but it hasn't been tested. Get over here, NBC.
Well, we certainly believe in testing, but Wow. Oh, yeah.
So, we've got our deadly disease. Now, we just have to blame it on something that's in every household, something that people are a little bit afraid of already. House cat flu is coming, people. The Center for Disease Disinformation predicts with some degree of probability that the house cat flu might spread in the following hypothetical outbreak pattern. So, petter beware, that warm body on your lap just might be ready to destroy your tender fiddles. Springfielders are advised to stay tuned for more information if they experience any of the following symptoms: mild thirst, occasional hunger, tiredness at night.
Gotta get a juicer, gotta drink juice, lose weight, won't get chest pain from answering the phone anymore.
Please don't tell the supervisor I have the flu. I've been working with the Shutter Pelvis for 3 weeks.
Oh, my juice loosener's never gonna come.
Hey, Dad, this came for you in the mail.
Woohoo! Happy birthday. Happy birthday. What the? The dreaded Osaka flu has hit Springfield with over 300 cases now reported. Now over to Arnie Pie with Arnie in the Sky.
Route 401 is going around and around and around and around and around. And look out at the corner of 12th and Main because I'm going to be sick. Whoop.
Okay, Mr. Sun, give me what you got.
98.6. You're fine. Now hurry up or you miss your bus. Maybe you better take that temperature one more time.
Sarge, we keep getting orders to let the virus win.
Must be a school day. Lay down your arms.
All right. Let's make some puffs.
D. Line.
D.
D. E. Line.
F, Bart. And believe me, you'll be seeing plenty of them.
Bart, would you like to read a book? No. Would you like to color something? I did.
The Democrats are politicizing the coronavirus. This is their new hoax.